Hey there YouTube, welcome to another PC build log. We look at a bunch of different parts, pick out the best ones based on rating, quality, all that kind of stuff, put it all together with some kind of price point. I was aiming for 900 bucks for this build, and I wanted to incorporate the GTX 1070 and Intel CPU. So it was difficult to basically mesh everything together and make it under $1,000 because, well, it's an expensive GPU and it's an expensive CPU. Let's begin with the case. The case holds everything, and I wanted it to look nice and be kind of slim though. I didn't want a big case, so I went with the NZXT Source 210. Small, it lacks USB 3 but you know, I don't really care too much about that. As long as the board has it, I can plug things in the back, so that's fine. The case is cheap, and it should be big enough to hold everything. For the motherboard, I went with the ASRock H97M Pro 4. It's the LG 1150, small guy, has the USB 3 micro ATX. Jeez, I can't talk today. But it is designed to hold full-size cards, so there won't be any issue with the GTX 1070 with this guy. Moving on, I went with just the generic, you know, basic hard drive. And that's usually what I do for these builds because really it's good enough to get you into the door, holds lots of games. With the Western Digital, the blue 1 terabyte desktop drive, you're good for a while at least. Moving on, one of the big components that you obviously need to look at is the CPU. I went with the Intel Core i5 4460 quad core. It wasn't the first choice, but I think this one is going to work really well because its power consumption isn't crazy. It doesn't get too hot according to most of the reviews that I've seen. And it has the power to push through and do a lot of different gaming and editing and anything really you're going to throw at it, it should do just fine. It comes with a stock cooler and heatsink, and since you're not going to be overclocking this, at least not right away, that should be fine, and later on you can throw on like water cooling or a better air cooler. And it's not bad a price. It's under 200 bucks, so it'll do. Moving on, RAM 16 gigs to get you going. G-Skill Ripjaw series. These guys they're well reviewed, not as good as some of the other series that you can grab from G-Skill, but these ones will work just fine. And they always come with a lifetime warranty. So, of course, if you get a dead stick, ship it back to them. They'll send you a brand new one, no problem. And they work with people really well. Their customer service is pretty good. And that's just from personal experience. I've had to send a stick in before, and it was pretty quick. I mean, I didn't have to wait very long. So I was happy, and I'll be a returning customer so long as they don't piss me off. Moving on, we're going to need a lot of power for that card. So I went with the Roswell or Roswell. I don't know how you would say it. I guess Roswell. The Hive 750. 750 watts is enough to power all of our stuff, plus the power-hungry GPU, which requires 500 watts. This guy has got excellent reviews, and that's all you really want to look at is the reviews for the PSU, and make sure that it's just reliable and it doesn't die like after a year, which happens with a lot for some reason. Very last piece to this build, obviously the GPU. Gigabyte GeForce GTX 1070. This is the G1 gaming version, so it's got a bit of a higher core clock and boost clock. 8 gigabytes of just insane gaming power. I like this one just because of the triple fan. It's gonna keep it nice and cool, and that's really important when you're building a more compact PC because often the cases don't have as good ventilation and airflow. So you're just going to make sure your parts stay nice and cool. And that's it for the build. The total is about 916 bucks, close enough to the $900 mark. And obviously this is probably going to be good enough for VR. I don't know a lot about VR and the different systems yet, but the GPU is obviously VR ready, and the CPU is probably just fine. Thanks for watching. Have any suggestions for the next video or how I can improve on them? Let me know in the comments below, and see you in the next build.